We have a quorum, so let's get started.
Otherwise, I wouldn't go.
Right.
At this point, I'd like to call to order the monthly meeting of the Patricia A. Hannaford Career Center, Hannaford Regional Technical School District. First order of business would be to introduce board members. Suzanne, would you like to start?
Amanda, board member from the Cdl Course.
Marie Morris, also from the Addendum Central School District.
Nick Colston, at large, ACSD.
Linda Barrett, clerk.
Dana Peterson, interim director and superintendent.
Jason LaRock, Workforce Investment Board.
Melissa Beckwith, Workforce Investment Board.
Michael McGrath, Addison Northwest.
Kim Farnham, the community at large member from the Makery district.
Kelly Mills, Dean of Students and Sustainable Agriculture Instructor.
And administration.
Gibson Smith, business manager.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming. First order of business is to approve our agenda. You should have a copy of the draft agenda in front of you. I have one minor change under the consent agenda. Item number 2, which reads monthly accounts payable for June, August, and September. We need to add July to that. And Missy will be giving us that information. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
Move.
Right.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, the agenda is, all those opposed signify by saying nay. Got ahead of myself, sorry about that. All right. The agenda is approved. Visitor comments. I believe we have some visitors and we have some visitor comments.
We do.
Gretchen?
Welcome. I am representing the Open House Committee, and I'd like to invite all of the board members to come to the open house, October 4th, 4 to 6:30. And I would also like to invite all the public to bring anyone that want to come. Same time, same place, same channel. October 4th, 4 to 6:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen.
You're welcome.
So my name is Woody Danforth, and I am here as a representative of the faculty and staff of the Hannaford Career Center. I have been asked to return to that group with an update on the search and hiring process for a permanent superintendent. And I'm curious what information I might bring back to them.
That is a very fair question. I'm not prepared to answer that at this point, but as soon as we have something, we will make sure that we get that to you.
Perfect. That's the only thing I brought. I did bring cookies too.
I brought cookies and
So,
coffee.
well, thank you all for being here and giving us your time.
Excellent. Thanks for coming.
Right at it. See ya.
Next would be correspondence. I have some correspondence. Do you have any that you want to share?
Nothing other than the thing nothing in the correspondence that you may already have.
Actually, I got 2 pieces of correspondence, and I'm remiss, I don't believe I brought one of them. That's the one.
That's the one. You need that one?
So you want to present that one? I'll present this one.
Yeah, sure. First.
So I'll go, so this is a letter from Lisa Rader, Chief Negotiator for the Addison County Educators Association, HCC unit. Dear Mr. LaRock, in accordance with Article 2.2 of the 2017-2019 Collective Bargaining Agreement, the HCC unit of the Addison County Educators Association is writing to you of its intent to negotiate a successor agreement. Please contact me at your earliest convenience to schedule our first negotiation session. Sincerely, Lisa Rader, Chief Negotiator. So, I was anticipating that. We were going to talk about that tonight. anyway. We'll take that up under executive session later on this afternoon. So, Dana?
I also have a letter from Lisa directed to the Patricia A. Hannaford Regional Technical School District board members and interim superintendent. I would like to take a moment to recognize a few of our staff whose work and collaboration have helped to create a better experience for me and my students here at the Career Center. Each year I come into our school building amazed at the work that our maintenance staff has done over the summer. Fresh coats of paint, floors polished, and even those difficult to open drawers now have been fixed to open smoothly. Not only is the physical space readied, there are staff members that have made other preparations. This year I noticed that I had more time to focus on having a vibrant start to the school year due to the tireless and thoughtful work of two people, Mike Addendum and Dan Callahan. Mike Addendum spends time with me at the start of each year reviewing students that are on plans and advising me to the kinds of individual supports they will need. As part of this process, he helps me to arrange where students should sit in the classroom so that they can be best suited for a healthy and productive experience. He creates summaries of the plans so that I and other teachers can see at a glance what our students' needs are. Mike also makes plans easily available through Google Drive. He is flexible, patient, and always available, even on the weekends. Dan Callahan has been instrumental in making the start of the school year smooth as well. He configures and clones all of the computers so that students have clean, new accounts with consistent interfaces. These efforts not only save me 3 to 4 hours of work, they also allow me to make instructions of the software more clear to the students. Dan also procured a couple of old laptops that students could sign out to make up missing work and not fall behind. It became very clear to me as I started this new school year that it was because of the work of these two colleagues that I was better equipped to begin my time with students. Their work gave me the greatest gift that a teacher could get at the start of the new school year, and that is time. I am grateful for the expertise that Mike and Dan have, for their dedication to our students and for making our school a better place. They are excellent colleagues. Sincerely, Lisa Rader.
Excellent. I have a third correspondence that we'll be talking about. I won't read, but we'll be talking about that in an executive session as well.
An executive session, okay.
So,
I get a nice correspondence the first week of school, and it was from Hannah, who was so happy that her child was going there, and she came home, and she was just like, she wished she could stay there all day. And I have, in the 20 years that I've been on boards, I have never received anything like that, and I was so excited to be able to share that with you.
excellent. That's wonderful.
It was really nice.
Awesome. So I just want to give you a quick update before we go to the consent agenda. As those of you that were here for a retreat know, I will be stepping down as of the annual meeting in February. At this point, I think it'd be appropriate to put together a nominating committee so that anyone interested in the chair position can go to that nominating committee. Do we have a volunteer to chair that? I believe Mark Perrin, Lorraine?
Well, if Mark Perrin wants to be, I'd
He's
love to be on
not,
it.
he's not here.
I was kind of hoping Mark was going to be here. That's his,
If
that's
Mark
his,
wants to cheer it, that'd be great. If Kevin can.
okay. All right. So let's, we'll let you and Mark fight that out. How's that sound?
No fight. After 3 hours last night, he's doing it.
Okay, awesome.
Find out about that.
Excellent. That's what happens when you don't show up to a meeting.
That's right.
That's right.
You get nominated for
You
more
get
stuff.
nominated for stuff.
Well, you weren't at our meeting last night. We nominated you for several things.
And I apologize for that because it was not on my calendar at all. I know I said, anything works for me, but I didn't write it down, so I'm sorry.
Jason, everybody else might know, but for me and the listening audience, are you resigning from the chair position or from the board?
That's I have a year left on my term. I have a lot of things going on, transitions within my company that, I'm burning the candle at both ends. And before it becomes problematic, unfortunately, I don't feel that I can continue to do the level of, do this role to the level that I need to with, my business commitments. So To be honest with you, I'm waiting to see who steps forward to be the chair. And then it's going to be a conversation with that individual, whether or not they feel me sitting in the audience, sitting here is productive or counterproductive. And then I am a workforce investment appointee, so we'd go, looking for another appointee if if it's deemed that I'm going to get off. But regardless, at the end of February of 2020, I'll definitely be off the board. So. All right, consent agenda consists of 2 items tonight. Number 1 is the meeting minutes from July 11th, 2018, and the monthly accounts payable for June, July, August, and September. I'm not quite sure. I think June and July are partials. Was that or
June is FY18
Yes, so
residual.
what I'm going to report on was the outstanding FY18 expenses that were processed after the minutes were produced last.
Perfect. You want to give us those numbers?
Sure. So FY18, June 30th, general fund, $4,993.04. There were no expenses from the building and equipment reserve or the revolving fund. And then FY19, July 24th, no expenses in building and equipment reserve. General fund was $86,540. No expenses from the revolving fund. August 21st, building and equipment reserve was $14,309. General fund was $103,510.62. And the revolving fund was $1,946.66. And finally, September 19th was building and equipment reserve, $907.47. General fund, $94,159.39. Revolving fund, $1,068.41.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Would anyone like to remove any of those from the consent agenda for further consideration? All right. Consent agenda is passed. Next would be policy 2.4, financial planning and budgeting, which also includes the BERF budget and spreadsheet. Dana?
Thank you, Jason. So Gibson's report on the financial planning and budgeting reflects a very standard report. There are no conditions or situations outlined in board policies that would place the school board at risk, number 1. Number 2, we do have a system of internal controls that are in place. All of our deposits from the state go in direct deposited into our accounts. Each deposit is recorded and classified according to the chart of accounts for the district, which is being aligned with AOE more closely. And there are always 2 parties verifying receipts that come in. Additionally, capital expenditures are tracked both by the district's chart of accounts as well as in separate checking accounts with different banking institutions. And finally, there are sufficient funds, or have been sufficient funds to cover the framework of the budget and cover costs for purchases that are included, and nothing is outside of what the board has established or already approved in terms of programming. That's all I have on Gibson's. If there are any questions, we'll be happy to entertain those.
All right.
Also, under the financial planning and budgeting, we thought we would bring an updated building and equipment reserve fund. Does anybody need a copy? Does everybody have a copy? Okay. So both the Facilities Committee as well as the Budget and Policy Committee have looked over the new spreadsheet that has been updated by Gibson. I call your attention to the third line from the right, which has a balance down the bottom of $78,799.63. And there is a note that Gibson has made that that reconciles with People's Bank on August 31st. So that is the exact amount that we had in the BRF, as well as the bank account statement saying that we had in the bank. If you look at the column to the right of that, we have encumbrances that have been incurred since then, $8,900, taking our balance down to $69,900. That is rounded as a result of the cell up above that took the $78,799.63 and rounded it up to an even number of $78,800. For those of you who are checking on the cents. So at this point, we have $69,900. There is a transfer that has also occurred. That was the $25,000 that was voted at the annual meeting last February, and that is being included. When we take that, that takes our final column to the right up to $94,900. And with a $17,000 budget for expenses for North Campus construction, our unrestricted BRF balance is $77,900. I know I talked a lot, but any questions about the layout of the fund or the accounting from the reconciliation point to today?
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Thank you both, Gibson and Dana, for putting the effort into making this more easily understood. I appreciate it.
Quite welcome.
So moving forward, we're going to be, as things are expended in previous years, they're going to drop off once they're fully closed out.
Right.
And that's one of the confusions we had with it, was that there were projects that were done, but were still lingering. So I say lingering, they were still showing up here, and weren't zeroed out yet. So, all right. Any questions for Dana on the BRF budget or on his monitoring report as a whole for policy 2.4? All right, hearing no questions, we have a motion to accept monitoring report? Okay. It's been moved, is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to accept the monitoring report for policy 2.4, financial planning and budgeting. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Monitoring report has been approved. Next item, policy 2.7, compensation and benefits. There is that report in your packet. I'm going to turn it back over to Dana.
Let me call your attention just to a couple of things. We follow we meaning the business office and I, follow all of the required practices for putting out requests for proposals. And we work closely together to manage all of the employees for their appropriate compensation. Second, I don't have anything to do with setting my own compensation. And that compensation is the same as it was for last year. There are never any offers or guarantees of employment. And with respect to the current compensation, we follow the master agreement and make sure that we double check all of the contracts and compensatory requirements, and if something changes, we are notified that there will be a possible change in column in November, and then when that gets executed, we generate a new contract if that would change in the column, and then Jason receives a new copy of the the contract. He reviews it after I have reviewed it, and we'll sign off so that we can execute that particular change. And we work together to make sure that all obligations can be met within the scope of our fiscal year. I think we did a fairly good job last year. The auditors are here currently, and they will be reporting on the fiscal status. But we expected, as I reported to the Budget and Policy Committee at the end of June, I think, we are expecting to have a modest reserve, unrestricted reserve in that account. Not ready to report on what that amount might be until after the audit has occurred.
Excellent. Any questions for Dana on policy 2.7? Okay, hearing none, I would take a motion to accept. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving policy 2.7, compensation and benefits, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. The motion is carried. Thank you. Next item, formation of a negotiating committee. As everyone knows, this is a negotiating year. Current contract expires on June 30th, 2019. So do we have anyone interested in being on that negotiating committee?
Mark has talked to me about doing it since I'm also on the negotiating committee for the ACSD.
Okay, are you interested in negotiating both contracts? Okay.
I mean, in some ways it makes sense.
Yeah, no,
to be involved.
I would agree. Anybody else interested? I think that would,
I think Mark is
Yeah.
willing to
okay,
also remain on it.
okay. That works for me.
I can do it again
Okay,
if they need a third.
okay. All right, so Mark, Lorraine, Mike.
Seems like we just got done doing it.
I know.
Just barely.
Yeah, it does feel that way, doesn't
Yeah, it
it?
does.
All right, excellent. So let's consider that formed. I don't know that we need to take formal action on that. All right, next, copier lease agreement. I'm gonna turn it over to Dana and Gibson to talk about that.
So let me begin. On page 4 of the original report that I submitted, not the addendum, which came a little later, there is some information about the new copier agreement. So I'll let you take just a moment to look that over. I'll say just a few words, and then if you have questions, I'll be happy to entertain those.
So where does the third copier live?
Well, there's one in the faculty room, there's one in the main office, and then there's one at North Campus. So if everyone has had an opportunity to at least skim the paragraph that I have in there on the new copier agreement, let me just say that we entertained 3 bids. We solicited 3 bids. We put it out, but there weren't a whole lot coming in, so we asked people to submit bids. It doesn't fall under the $15,000 mark. However, it is a 4-year lease, and so any lease of an extended period of time requires board action. So the details on this are, we currently, last year, expended $17,122.44 for both copying and printing services. And we were told that because we don't have an ongoing, we're going month to month, we pay a premium for that type of service, and that if we actually had a quote and an agreement we would pay significantly less. So what I have presented here is just an example of that. We did get a separate bid for the printers, and that came in at $400 below what we are currently paying, or we currently paid last year for printing services. Then we entertained a bid, which was much more expensive, for the copying services. And we received lease agreements, and we also received an interesting proposal for an installment plan to actually purchase the copiers. And we found that that was the most attractive, gave us the biggest bang for our buck. The copiers could be used beyond the 4-year period, and we would save significantly on our cost moving forward. That money would then be freed up to be used in other areas. So we currently have $12,000 that are budgeted, and we've spent on this year's, because the bids came in for, one of our copiers was still under a lease agreement until like Friday, this Friday coming up. So we were still locked into that lease agreement. So bundling them all together, we have spent $2,597 this year. That leaves us with $9,400 remaining. And the proposal that we are bringing forward is one from Conway Office Solutions for a comprehensive sale and service contract of $4,701. That would result in a yearly savings of $4,700, approximately $4,700. So that is the proposal that we are bringing this evening for the board to act on. And that would be an installment plan, $4,700 per year. So we break that down by month. It would be about $400 a month. And we would then own the equipment at the end of that 4-year period, and could do an extended service contract, but we would no longer have to pay capital costs for equipment.
So that's $400, including service and
Correct.
toner?
Yes.
Okay.
What is the shelf life of years? I know every other computer goes outdated in like 2 years, so.
Our copiers, one of our copiers is almost 10 years old.
So if you were to purchase it, it would go beyond the 4 years?
Absolutely.
It wouldn't just cap the 4
No.
years? Yeah.
Well, not based on the experience that we've had. The other copiers, I think, are maybe 5 years old.
Lorraine?
Dana, I was curious about the previous month-to-month thing. Do you know what the rationale was for that? To me, that doesn't make much sense.
It wasn't explored for doing a new contract, and I just don't know why. So this is one of the things that came up last year when we started exploring this sometime. Well, it probably came up as we were looking at the budget and doing a comprehensive review, and we looked at all of our lines, and Gibson and Gretchen said, well, and I would be signing off on purchase order, and I said, wow, this is a lot of money. So we had a meeting between IT, I mentioned that in the report, IT and the business office and myself, as well as John Curler, and we got together and we looked at it. And we said, wow, we should be able to save significant money. Then we realized that we were in an agreement until September, and so we put in place the necessary procedures to see how much we could save. And that's what I'm bringing to you this evening. Thank you.
So one of them was under a lease, the other two
Right.
were month to month, or?
I don't remember the details of that. I know that at least one, it may have been 2, but there was at least one that was under a lease agreement.
Yeah, I think all of them were under lease agreements.
I'm sure that that's not the case. They weren't all under lease agreements. We were paying at least,
okay.
there was one lease agreement that we would have had to pay to get out of, and I don't remember if that had 1 machine or 2 machines.
Sometimes it's handy to, let them sync up as well.
Right.
I've gone month to month, partially because I didn't have time to deal with it, but also getting them to sync up so that you can do it as a package. So, all right. I see.
Conway Office Solutions
Yes.
was part of the review. Their service level, do they come highly recommended?
Yes.
Okay.
And they have several contracts within the state, and they're based out of Southborough.
Well, they're based...
They have an office in
Yeah, they have a
Southborough.
headquarters in, I think it's in Hampshire.
In New Hampshire, but they have an office out of South Burlington or Williston or someplace. And they have several school contracts.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions for Dana on the copier lease? Take a motion to accept.
So moved.
Right. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the copier lease agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. And the motion has carried. So you'll I presume you guys will execute that this
We
week?
will, with your, yep.
Excellent, thank you very much. Next item, tractor bid acceptance. So Dana also speaks to this in his report. I'm gonna turn it over to him for questions. So we're purchasing it. We'd be purchasing a New Holland,
Right.
60 horsepower tractor.
That's correct.
From Champlain Valley Equipment.
Right. So that's the recommendation. We received 4 bids. 3 of them were for new pieces of equipment, 1 was for a used piece of equipment. And the features and the value of this was by far the best, and the committee working on that recommended to me that we select the New Holland. We have earned $14,200 in the sale of equipment already from the Ag Department, in which included 2 smaller tractors that were vintage 1970 tractors. And so that will make up the bulk of the cost, leaving about $7,600 to be covered by the Ag Department from 3 or 4 lines, I think 4 lines, Kelly? 4 different department lines of $2,600, and then a $5,000 request from the equipment grant from the state, which will be coming shortly.
How much is the AOE equipment grant expected to be?
It's about $29,000.
29,000?
Yep. Okay. So that will leave just shy of $25,000 for other materials, and we have some requests that we're looking at right now for use of the equipment grant.
All right, so this is a multifaceted request. It's a request to purchase a tractor, but it's
Correct.
also a request to use the equipment, AOE equipment grant money to cover a portion of that tractor.
And I'll come back with the actual the grant later on in the fall. But just to let you know, that's how we were planning to pay for it. So if you wouldn't mind giving us preliminary approval to include the balance from the equipment grant that we'll be receiving, we'd appreciate that.
Any questions for Dana or Gibson on this?
So I've passed around a couple pieces of information. One is a summary of the 4 bids. And then also the other sheet of paper is the winning bids. I just passed around the bids.
Right, no, that's great. Thank you.
So this one does not have a rotary cutter, which one of the others did. Does that matter?
No, not according to the committee. Sorry. Most of those were additional costs. Nick, that would have been an additional cost of $3,000 on the rotary cutter. Okay.
Any questions on?
You know I'd have one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So on this, the tractor bid opening, I just want to make sure I understand this because there's numbers under each of the companies.
Yep.
And then under the tractor that's being recommended, there's a number there, and then the price is $21,800. So I'm
Yep.
just trying to understand, because it also says including loader at,
That was, I'm sorry, that was the 25,971. That included the original price over to the, there's a price for the total bid that they gave us on the left. And what is in the specifications, it was broken down as to what was included in that original price. And so the total price is just for the tractor, which is what the ag department was looking to
so
replace.
they're not looking to get the loader, because up top it
Correct.
says and possible loader.
Right. They said that the loader was not necessary after we put out the request for proposals.
So overall, Yando's is less money than Champlain Valley?
No. Right? Or it says,
No, Yandow's, well, Yandow's, according to this, would be about 2,200 more.
Oh, that's a used, okay.
That's
And it's used,
But it would include the loader.
Okay, I see.
yes.
And what's the warranty on that? On the tractor itself, the equipment and everything?
I don't know that off the top of my head. We can ask if you'd like, we can ask Aaron Townsend to give us that information. He would know.
I can find that out.
Okay.
All right, any questions in regards to the tractor? All right, hearing none, I take a motion to approve the tractor purchase. It's been moved by Lorraine. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mike has seconded it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. We're about to buy a tractor. Motion's passed.
And Jason, just for clarification purposes, do we need a motion to approve the expenditure of the $5,000 for the?
We probably should. We get a motion to accept to approve the expenditure of up to $5,000 from the state equipment grant. It's been moved by Suzanne. Is there a second?
second.
Been seconded by Melissa. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. The motion is carried. Thank you very much.
I need to ask just one question. In your previous motion, you did not give a dollar figure. Can you make that clear so that it is in the motion?
Motion to accept the bid
Yeah.
by Champlain Valley Equipment for $21,800, is that?
Yeah.
I just think it should be in there.
Yep.
All right. That's the end of our action agenda. We'll move to our informational agenda. Item number 1 is the facilities reports. Facility committee met twice since our last meeting. Actually, once since the last meeting, but the meeting minutes weren't available for the last meeting, or at the last meeting. So we have in your packet the facility committee meeting minutes for Monday, June 25th, and from September 10th. Any questions for the facilities committee? Missy, would you like to highlight anything?
I think just to quickly pull out the security items, because I think those are worth noting. They were identified, and Dana, please correct me if I'm not correct, they were identified in an audit that was done.
By Mark Moody, yes.
As improvements that we could make, installing a card entry system, a blue light warning system, and reinforcing the glass around the lower entrance of the building. So those items are being vetted, researched, and there's a plan to implement those. And that's on the back.
Page 2.
Page 2 of the September 10th meeting minutes.
And you have the breakdown of the total amount that will be awarded by the state's security grant and our 25% contribution. We are looking at, we have to make upgrades based on the VISBIT report anyway, and we may be able to access additional grant funds to cover our local share.
And those services will be going out for bid and
Correct.
further discussion. And
Are there any questions?
there will be coordination with ACS.
That's
It's been a
all.
long day, I'm sorry. In regards to making sure that systems are compatible and that we're not creating other issues by what we're doing, so.
Thank you.
They're two separate buildings, but they're one campus, so I think it's important that everything's lined up. And I commend Dana for the work they've done so far in looking at security in the building between both districts, so.
We coordinate our drills already with ACSD, and in our conversations with first responders, we have been working on a plan to make sure that any type of an incident command center would be set up in one place, because this is one campus, so anything that would affect the high school would affect us and would affect the ACSD office right next door. So those coordinating items are being examined and worked on.
Excellent. Any additional questions for the Facilities Committee or Dana in regards to the meeting minutes? Lauren?
I feel kind of stupid because obviously everybody else knows, but the snow goose?
Oh.
So the Snow Goose, it was a white minivan?
It was a white minivan.
That was, we'd been limping it along. John had done some new rocker panels in it. I don't believe it was super high mileage, just, the elements.
It's like a nickname.
It was just what it was nicknamed. So, the new one
I
is.
wasn't gonna ask, and I was like.
Yeah, the new one's not white, so it's no longer being referred to as the Snow Goose, of course. But.
Though it's up for a nickname.
Because the red van is the Red Baron.
And the new blue one is the Blue Lagoon.
Oh, it's the Blue Lagoon, is that was the decision? Now we have Blue Lagoon and Red
John
Baron.
likes to nickname them.
Awesome.
Where's the old man going?
The old van was turned in for a credit on the purchase, so the cost of the van was, we had a budget of $12,000 and it was only about $8,100. So they actually took it for parts.
Okay, pump themselves to get demo.
There you go.
Hannaford Center demo.
There you go. Any additional questions? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the superintendent's report and the superintendent's report addendum. I'm gonna turn it over to Dana.
I will do my best to try and summarize the contents of the 7 pages that you have received. A lot of things have happened, obviously, since we met last in July. I just want to say that a couple of things, we had great programming over the summer, and the coordination with Midsummer was really fantastic. We got very good feedback from them and from our staff about that partnership, and we're hoping that will continue well into the future. You have some pictures and some text around that. I'd like to thank Devin Karpak for being such a willing, as the farm manager, he didn't realize that he was going to take on the curriculum and the implementation of coordination with Midsummer, but he did a fantastic job stepping up to the plate. The kids really enjoyed the activities that he set for them. The start of school, we had a great start to the school year in spite of some logistical and chaotic scheduling issues that we are working on feverishly now. We're very happy that our partners are willing to work with us. That's across the county, so we're happy about that. The first day of school was invigorating, and the students were really exciting and enthusiastic, and I can't say enough about that. I will call your attention to a couple of things. One, we had some preliminary numbers last year at Main campus, at Main and North campus. We had approximately 235 students. This year at the start of school, we had 278. That represents an increase of about 17%, just in terms of student bodies. And then I did some preliminary numbers. We have to do a little bit more digging, but we had some preliminary numbers on our FTEs for this year, and it came out to approximately 137. Last year, we had 119 confirmed for the fall. And so that was up by 15%. So we're very excited about that too. AOE was here for the strategic visioning process and interviewed approximately 30 students, I think. That happened just last Friday. That was really great. Jay Ramsey appreciated our effort to get the students together, and the students really appreciated being heard from someone else that was actually creating the strategic vision. So that was wonderful. The Advanced Manufacturing and Workforce Development Summits were really, I thought, great events. I'm not going to go over the details of those, but the interesting thing that I would summarize on both of those occasions is that the workforce employers are looking for 3 sets of skills. First and foremost, employability skills, sometimes called soft skills. I'm trying to stay away from that term, but employability skills being things such as reliability, dependability, showing up on time, commitment, ability to persist and persevere, and to do their best at problem solving. We think we do a good job at inculcating those values here. But then they go on and say that the next set of skills is the technical skills. And then the third set of skills is the academic skills. And they build as a pyramid from the base up. And at the manufacturing meeting, which I then shared at the Workforce Development Summit, it seems in education that pyramid is on its head. We emphasize academics, then technical, and then workforce employability. And so I said at the summit when I was interviewed as part of the panel that I think we really need to work towards flipping that to align more with industry. We can still send our students on to college and post-secondary learning with those set of skills in that order, I think. So that was my takeaway. You can read the report for all of the details because there's much more rich information than I can share in a couple of minutes.
And this has been posted to the website as well. If
it hasn't been, it should be.
Under the board.
Yep, it should be. I will check with Patrice on that. Reports on the website. If they haven't happened yet, they will this week.
Okay, perfect.
So, and a couple of the other things, the October 4th open house, we're hoping to have Maker mentors here during that time to do some demonstrations as we look towards opening up one evening a week later in the fall for people in the community to come in and take advantage of learning opportunities here at the center. Along those lines, there's a Makery update. We hosted 2 events over the summer, one on July 16th and one on August 1st. We opened up the engineering lab for 3D printing, and we held 2 sessions. And then we opened up the construction trades lab, and Len hosted that event, and folks who came in made cutting boards. Is that correct? That evening. So we were very happy with the results of those 2 events. We had a third one tentatively planned, but we had to cancel because of logistics and a variety of other scheduling issues. It was too close to the start of school. And then the last thing that we did visit the Center of Gravity down in Troy, New York, which is a makerspace, and they were very helpful in giving us ideas about policies, procedures, safety. And I had put a couple of pictures in there that I took to help us in terms of how we want to communicate if we're having people in from the community. It also serve our students well about safety procedures, which are either on the wall or on certain machines. So they were very helpful, and they continue to remain engaged with us. And then the final thing that I want to point out is that we have 2 state grants, and one we've already talked about. That was the security grant that we asked for approval on. I gave a breakdown there. And then a $75,000 innovation grant, and we should be receiving the paperwork on that very shortly. Talked with Jay Ramsey last Friday, and he said those should be coming out in the near future. And I'll give you more details about the breakdown of that once I know what has been approved on that list.
All right, excellent.
Thank you. Budget okay there.
Thank you.
Yes,
Dana, will you be able to give us a further breakdown of the enrollment numbers at a later date?
Yeah, in October we should be able to do that. Yes. In fact, Jason had asked me to try to do that. We're working on some of the details on FTEs because of the change in schedule and Denise and I just reviewed those, and I think that they were accurate as of yesterday afternoon. So we think that we'll have that available for people to look at. And we'll probably update that because we were still in the ad drop period. So there might be some minor changes, but we should be able to do a breakdown by program, by sending school, even by town if you would like, and
Good.
The overall for the center.
Good.
And we'll try to do a comparison between this year's
This
data
year
and
and
last year's
last
data.
year.
Yep.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, that would be in October. We had a conversation around it, I was hoping to be able to present something tonight, but just, wasn't gonna work, so.
It required a little too much extra digging and planning on Denise's part. So.
And it's a critical, enrollment is a critical component for some of the conversations we need to be having.
Yeah.
So.
On
Lauren?
that same vein, Dan, do you have a general idea of like those 43 students, if they were gravitating toward like a couple of particular programs, or whether they were kind of spread out, or do you don't have that information either?
They were spread out across programs. I can say that 1, 2, 3, it included pre-tech and technical programs. What the exact breakdown is, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I just didn't know if
No, they weren't all concentrated. They weren't all concentrated in one area. They were spread out among pre-tech and technical programs. Some of our technical programs, which were close to capacity last year, remained close to capacity, so that didn't change. But some of those that were undersubscribed, I mentioned last year we were about 30% capacity in many programs, or center-wide. But that meant some of the programs had greater capacity. That capacity has been filled, and we think that it's expanded.
How's the enrollment in the computer program?
It's good.
Okay.
A decent enrollment.
Excellent.
Somewhere in the vicinity of 10, but I don't know the exact number.
It's 8.
It's 8, okay.
It's 8.
Now, that's a half-day program?
Yes.
Okay.
Half-day 2 year? Yes.
Excellent.
And the other thing that you left out, maybe because your report was so long, was through the good graces of National FFA, your center was graced with the National FFA Vice President.
That's right. I'm sorry.
It was the second day of school, but she did come and the students seemed to really enjoy.
Yeah, I met her. She was wonderful. Yeah. So, yeah, that was just too many things to keep. Thank you very much for sharing that, Suzanne.
Where is the National Vice President from?
So this one was from, I believe her home state is Arizona.
Okay.
She's Kentucky, she's a beef farmer. And so she had been at the New York State Fair, sweating it out.
All right.
For about a week before she got here. And we helped her sweat a little more.
It's way cooler here.
But, so she spent a day between the Career Center and Virgins, and then they went to Champlain Orchards, and then they came back here and had pizza and ice cream.
Excellent.
And, so the kids really enjoyed her visit, and now those that'll get to go on to national convention will actually be able to walk up to a national officer and say, hey, I know you, which is pretty cool.
We actually had, during the meeting with Jay Ramsey, we had one of the students who was in the Sustainable Ag program talking about her future college plans, and the question came up about in-state or out-of-state, and the way she responded was that she said, well, it depends on whether I decide that I want to do a national level representative of FFA or a statewide representative. So she would go to school in-state if she were going to do that, and then she would perhaps transfer out of state after that 1 year and having served as FFA. So that was a really intriguing response, I thought, to Jay Ramsey's question about what their future plans were. So anyway, yeah, we're very proud of our students.
Excellent.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on. Dean of Students Report is next. There's a copy of that in your packet. Turn it over to Kelly.
So the biggest change on this sheet is the change in the fall open house from 4 to 6:30. I had it down as what we've been doing in the past, which was 6 to 8:30, or 6 to 8. So please change it in your packet to 4 to 6:30 p.m. on October 4th. And the other thing is, a big deal, is that we as we move into proficiency-based grading, we realized that Power School, which is the platform we'd use to report grades to families, does not support proficiency-based assessments. So we did some research, and during one of our early release professional development days last spring, we test drove a couple of different ones, and jump rope came out on top. So we invited a representative in as one of our pre-week workshops and got us all up and running. So we're working out the bugs, and our interim reports will be going out next week to parents, and they will be printed out in the jump rope form. So parents are going to see, you know, where their student is achieving on that 1 to 4 scale continuum. Also, Dana sent out a letter to the families before school started indicating that we were moving, you know, another step towards the 1 to 4 point scale in terms of meeting a proficiency at like a number 3 and then exceeding proficiency at a number 4. So it's been an interesting learning experience, and parents will be able to log on to this platform very shortly once we get, like I said, the bugs worked out. Parents will be pulled into the loop with new login information, and if we have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them, or great.
Any questions for Kelly? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great, so I have another password I'm going to have to remember. Awesome.
Just a quick note, I don't know, I know you guys like to know when students go to secondary school, but Dustin Davio just went to Florida to, the
Marine
motorcycle.
Motors Institute.
Yep. So he switched from automotive, so he didn't go to like Wyoming Tech or whatever he went to. So he is in secondary school anyway,
That's great.
so he can make it through.
That's terrific. Thank you for telling us.
So at least you have another student.
Yeah.
Excellent. Next, excuse me, the Adult Tech Ed report. I turn it over to you, Mr. Smith.
Under the current programs, the elementary class starting next Tuesday has gone from 6 enrolled to 8, so that class is full at this point. We're enrolling for an October 12th start class that we're trying to work around the academic and child care supports of the Parent-Child Center to make that class available to their students. The Cdl course for this fall, I thought we had a fairly imaginative, collaborative plan. We contacted some accounts at Addison Independent that regularly advertise for CDL drivers, and they partnered on sponsoring about a month and a half of advertising for our CDL program, which generated 1 applicant. And so that class was canceled. They have a minimum requirement of 6 for bringing the trucks over from Barry. I'm not sure what the barriers are there. The course is expensive, but we had moved it from last spring to this fall because last spring VSAC was out of money, if you remember, and that so that cohort wasn't able to attend. So I'm not sure what the answer is at this point for the CDL program.
I can tell you that some of the problem is that even though you get a CDL, they want you to be 21 to drive and have 2 years experience in almost all the jobs out there, excluding farms or maybe a dump truck here and there. So you can't actually go out of state here 21 anyway. So that's some of the barriers that they're running into, but these people are desperate for CDL help too, so sooner or later they're gonna have to break down, and the insurance company's gonna say, I think it's an insurance deal. Insurance companies are gonna have to back off sooner or later and say you can have somebody 19, 20, but I think that's some of the barrier for people getting their CDL.
I think another barrier is that we are experiencing extremely low unemployment, and we're looking at a training program that you have to have clean driving record and pass random drug testing. And I think that's a barrier as well.
Yeah, that's a barrier for them not being able to find CDL drivers, period.
And a very good reason for the barrier.
Yeah. they can't pass clean long enough, that's why they don't have any drivers.
Other things I kind of didn't manage to get into the report for one reason or another. We had a really successful Youth Works program this summer, last summer's program. We had 13 applicants and accepted 12 and had 9 of the 12 finished. This year we had 22 applicants for 12 positions and 12 of the 12 finished the program.
Excellent.
The fall Vermont Youth Works program is scheduled to start October 15th. We hired a program coordinator for that, and next week we're hoping to hire a shop foreman position who's going to teach an entrepreneurship component in the morning. Department of Labor has approved funding that entrepreneur component for the work experience so that students can get paid for their hours in the shop, which is going to be an important recruiting tool for us. We had a capital for the day in Addison County last Tuesday, and David Roberts, regional manager from Vermont Adult Learning, and I hosted the Commissioner of Labor, Lindsay Curley, and Heather Bushy, Assistant Secretary of Education, with an information session about the Youth Works program, and they were very excited and have seen some positive results and funding do well.
Excellent. So is that boot camp that's starting up, is that taking place here, or is it taking place in a variety of different places?
Yeah, that will be primarily here. We may have a part of Friday sessions that is at Vermont Adult Learning, but
okay.
We're hoping that the entrepreneur component is intended to be the whole basis of technical education is you don't learn in a vacuum, you learn applying your skills. And we're trying to teach soft skills to a large degree. I don't like that word, but we're trying to teach basic employability skills. It is best in the workplace, not in the classroom, but we're teaching the people who really aren't quite ready for the workplace. So the entrepreneur class is in the workshop in a working environment, producing a marketable product and practicing the skills of working together, being reliable, accepting feedback, and those kinds of things in a actual applied setting that's combined with classroom instruction, explicit classroom instruction, all those things.
And that dovetails well with the current use of the building. Current.
Yes.
Currently occupied. Perfect. Great. Glad to hear that.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. Any questions for Lon? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. Thanks again, Lon. So next would be policy 4.1, governing style, which is a board evaluation. Do we have a volunteer?
We're doing well.
Why, thank you.
Oh, in a few words. No, I think the meeting went very smoothly. I think we're on schedule and a lot of very good information for the first week back, for us, anyway, the first meeting back. So, well done, everybody.
Thank you for doing that. So we need 2 executive sessions tonight, one for personnel and one for negotiations. So I'd take a motion to go into
executive session for personnel negotiations.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Do you plan on taking any action after?
I don't believe we'll be taking any action. But I don't know for sure. So I don't believe we will.
Okay.
All those in favor? All those in favor going into executive session for personnel and negotiations signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Okay, we're We're going to go into executive session. Like Dan.